friends, and welcome back to Movies, Munchies, and Moscato. I am Rhonda.
And I am Rochelle.
We're just a couple of friends who love movies, television, and wine. So if that is something that interests you, please stick around and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now it's time for movie and TV news and pulp culture discussion. So first up, Dave Bautista, Ben Kingsley, and Sofia Boutella are set to star in the action comedy The Killer's Game. This will be Dave Bautista's first movie after The Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
And which one is Dave Bautista?
He plays Drax.
Oh, okay. All right.
In those movies. So just keep spreading his wings. Which I hear he's one of the better wrestlers to come into acting. He has good range versus anyone else. And yes, that includes The Rock, who I do like, but he doesn't have a lot of range. Like, I don't see him doing like these movies, or like Dave was in that Knock at the Cabin. I just don't see The Rock doing those certain things.
Right, no, I agree.
Rock sticks with comedy, and he kind of is kind of the same, which is fine, but I'm just saying, I think Dave Bautista he's had really good range so far. Although, John Cena is up there. John Cena also is a wrestler, and he's been pretty good at it too. He hasn't done anything dramatic like Dave has, but I do. He's a good one as well. Anyway, the official cast of Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip for season 5 has been announced. They've decided to make this a New York legacy trip, so it will include Dorinda, Luann, Sonia, Ramona, Kristen, and Kelly. So this will be Dorinda's. Is this her third or just her second time?
Dorinda, this would be her
I guess it's just her second time. Okay. Just her second time. And Ramona's also second time, and the rest have not been on a girls' trip. But,
well, Luann was.
She was?
Yeah.
Was she on the first one with Ramona?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yep. Okay. So never mind. So it's just Sonia, Kristen, and Kelly's first time on a girls' trip then. So, unfortunately, I mean, I think it's a cool idea. I just kind of liked the whole point of this show being kid and who from different casts instead of it all being from the same, but oh well, that's okay.
That is true.
LL Cool J is joining NCIS Hawaii as his character Sam Hanna from NCIS LA for next season. So NCIS LA was canceled, and they just had their series finale. And so he's going to bring his character over to Hawaii, but just as a recurring character. Apparently he doesn't want to move over there. So
oh, no kidding.
He'll just recur in and out. And then finally, Amazon has renewed Citadel for a season 2.
Oh, I heard it's good.
I have watched this. I'm not going to talk about it until the finale, which actually airs this week, so I'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
It's a very short season. It was only 6 episodes, and honestly, the episodes were like 40 minutes or less. I was surprised at that, being like a action drama, but...
Well, are you liking it? Because I've heard it's good.
No, I do like it.
Okay.
Some of it's, what's the word? Not obvious, but whatever the word is. Like, some of it you're just like, you see coming, I guess. So it's not like it's treading any new ground, but it is still entertaining.
Oh, okay. All right.
Now it's time for movies and TV shows that were out. We're going to do last week and then also this week. So for last week, we have Fast X, or Fast and the Furious number 10. This is in theaters and stars Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Jason Momoa, Ludacris, Tyrese Gibson, and John Cena. So over many missions and against impossible odds, Dom Toretto and his family have outsmarted and outdriven every foe in their path. Now they must confront the most lethal opponent they've ever faced. Fueled by revenge, a terrifying threat emerges from the shadows of the past to shatter Dom's world and destroy everything and everyone he loves. So I'm going to see this next week, so I'll let you guys know what I think, because I have seen all of these, and yes, they are ludicrous, but they're just fun at this point. Selling Sunset Season 6 is now out on Netflix, so that's just continuing the reality show of the realtors, so that's also something you could watch. They're just fun and entertaining.
Yep.
Then we have a new series on Apple TV called High Desert. This stars Patricia Arquette and Matt Dillon. So Peggy Newman, a woman with a checkered past, makes the life-changing decision to become a private investigator following the death of her beloved mother, with whom she lived in the small desert town of Yucca Valley, California. This looks interesting. I do like Patricia Arquette. I've liked her since
Yeah.
that TV show Medium. So
I do too. Yeah.
on Apple, as we know, they usually do pretty good stuff. So I'm going to have to check them out. And then finally for last week, we have White Men Can't Jump. This is a movie on Hulu and stars Jack Harlow and Sinqua Walls. So this is a remake of the 1992 film about a pair of basketball hustlers who team up to earn more cash. And I remember that original
like that
starred
one.
Wesley Snipes and
Woody Harrelson.
And Woody Harrelson. So I have not seen that movie probably since the 90s, so I don't remember it that well.
Right. Me either.
I remember liking it, so, but again, this is probably a pointless remake, probably. I don't know. I guess I'll have to tune in to see. Okay, so for this week, we have The Little Mermaid. This is in theaters and stars Halle Bailey, Melissa McCarthy, and Javier Bardem. So the youngest of King Triton's daughters, Ariel, is a beautiful and spirited young mermaid with a thirst for adventure. Longing to find out more about the world beyond the sea, Ariel visits the surface and falls for the dashing Prince Eric. Following her heart, she makes a deal with the evil sea witch Ursula to experience life on the land. I didn't say it before, but this is obviously the live action remake of.
Yeah, and it's people are not. The ticket
of The
sales are
Little
way
Mermaid.
down. Nobody's going to see it, and I think
Yeah.
it looks so cute.
It does look cute. I admit the underwater stuff looks a little.
Yeah, and they kind of changed up the little.
You guys can't even see me. I'm not even
characters.
speaking. I'm like moving my hands like y'all can see me. Sorry. It's just a little like iffy, wishy-washy.
Yeah.
On the underwater stuff. So.
Yeah, and they changed up the characters, some of the characters, and I think, I mean, this is a very loved character, princess.
Yeah.
And you just don't mess with those Disney, and Disney just seems to mess with everything these days. So
That's
it's not
true.
surprising to me that it hasn't done well, but I still want to see it at some point. When
Yeah,
maybe when it's out on Disney Plus or something.
I do want to see it, and I've heard the music is awesome. Like, well, I mean, they added 2 new songs, but I mean, in terms of how everyone sounds, like singing, I've heard
Yeah.
the record is, or the album is really, really good.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, that's good to know. And what's the next remake? They're making a live action Moana. I know I talked about that.
Oh, no kidding.
Which I never saw it. I don't get me wrong, but it's just funny that that's not even that old,
Right.
and they're already trying to make a live action remake. And
Yeah.
the original voice actress, Alali, I think that's how you pronounce her name. Anyway, she's already dropped out. She's going to stay on as producer, but she feels she's kind of like aged. She's only 24, but she's like, I feel like I've aged out. That's a teenage role, and so she doesn't want to do it.
No kidding.
Yeah, I think she still looks young enough, but I mean, that's cool. She's like, I just want to stay true. I think the character should stay true to itself, and they should cast another Hawaiian because that's what she is, and just have it be someone who's in the right age. And
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think that's
Maybe
cool
still
of
use
her
her voice.
We can't do that on a live action.
No,
It's like,
you can't. But I mean, as far as singing, I'm sure they could.
That's true. That's true. They probably wouldn't. Yeah, I guess it depends on who they get. Then we have Fubar. This is a new series on Netflix starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Monica Barbaro, who was from Top Gun Maverick. She was the only female in that whole squadron. So a CIA operative on the verge of retirement discovers a family secret and is forced to go back into the field for one last job. I actually do want to see this. I saw the trailer on it and I was like, oh, that looks funny, actually, with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think that looks really
Isn't that
cute.
funny that he's doing more movies?
Yeah,
Because he
right?
needs the money.
Or just wants to keep himself busy.
Right.
That's true. Then we have Platonic. This is another new series on Apple TV and stars Rose Byrne and Seth Rogen. So Platonic, former best friends approaching midlife reconnect after a long rift. The duo's friendship becomes more consuming and destabilizes their lives. This also looks funny. I saw a trailer on this. And I'm a fan of Rose Byrne. Not so much Seth Rogen, but they seem to
Yeah.
do well together. I liked them in Neighbors, that movie, back in the day. So I would watch this one.
What do you call that kind of genre? I mean, the genre that he does. I just Seth
Wacky
Rogen.
comedy? I don't know.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't
Raunchy
care.
comedy?
Yeah, I don't care for it. It's just not my thing. So you'll have to let us know how it goes.
Okay.
I really have not enjoyed the shows he's been in. I just don't. Except what was the one?
It's
that
touch and
was
go with me on him.
Yeah, right. And yeah. So you'll have to see it. Let us know.
Yeah, okay, I can do that. And then finally for this week, we have American Born Chinese. This is a new series on Disney Plus and stars our favorite Michelle Yeoh and again Ki Hu Kwan. It's so funny they're doing a TV series after they were just in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Right.
And newcomer Ben Wang. So Ben stars as Jin Wang, an average teenager juggling his high school social life with his home life when he meets a new student on the first day of the school year. Even more worlds collide as Jin is unwittingly entangled in a battle of Chinese mythological gods. This is Disney to the ninth degree. It actually does look cute. He meets this dude and it starts out as the trailer makes it start out serious, and it turns out this dude has like mystical like powers. I was like, so it's like superhero meets everyday, like I don't even know how to explain it. It did look interesting though, and the fact that like I said Michelle and Key or Kay, I think it's Key how you pronounce his name. Anyway, is in it is pretty cool. So, anyways, that's what has been released the last 2 weeks.
Okay, that's awesome.
So what we have been watching. So for me, Rabbit Hole on Paramount Plus season 1 is now finished. It was a weekly release, so I was just holding out until I could talk about the whole thing. So this starred Kiefer Sutherland as not a spy, but it was weird. It was very 24-esque. He basically played a fixer. Like if you want your company to do well, he would kind of maneuver things to make that happen, per se. It was very twisty-turny. I mean, every episode there was like a twist to it or something you honestly did not see coming. This was the opposite of like, oh yeah, I could always tell what was going to happen. No, you didn't know at all what was going to happen on this particular series, and which was good. I mean, there were lots of weeks I've been like, what just happened or what? I was always surprised in a good way. So I do recommend it. You have to pay attention or you will be lost.
Well, that, I can actually see that with just even in the name, Rabbit Hole. It's like,
yeah, it is. Yeah, it really is like you're going down a rabbit hole. It's like this is a good one now that it's complete. Those of you guys that haven't watched, you guys get to binge it, and I think that's the best way versus how I did watch it weekly.
Kidding.
I think you might be able to even follow it even better. The connections that are there. So yeah, I thought it was really good. I hope it gets renewed for a season 2. It did end on a good note. The storylines were wrapped up. So that's good, no cliffhanger, but I do hope it gets a season 2 and then he could take him on a whole new journey or quest.
Yeah.
So I do recommend that on Paramount. And then I watched the series Kaleidoscope on Netflix. This came out last year, and I'd heard it talked about, and I kept forgetting about it, and then I was just scrolling through, and I was like, let me watch this. So this was 9 episodes, and the whole thing to it or tick to it was that everyone who watches it sees all the episodes in different order.
Oh.
So it is all about a bank heist and what occurs before the heist, during the heist, and after the heist. So just depending on who you were, you might start out with episode 9, but then go to episode 1, but then go to episode 3. So it just depended on who you were. And so I just remember the first one I watched was 6 months before the heist, and the last one ended up being the heist itself. So in the order I watched it in, I didn't see the heist until the end, which I actually did like, because it was like the ones before that, not knowing what had happened in the heist made it actually to me more interesting to not know, like fill in those gaps until you got to and you're like, oh, that's how all that got there.
No kidding. So this is one you really have to pay attention to? Sounds
yes,
like.
This is one you really do have to pay attention to.
Okay.
I did like it. I would say not as much as Rabbit Hole, but it was enjoyable for me. There was honestly, except for Giancarlo Esposito, there was no one really recognizable in it. It was all a cast of like unknowns to me for the most part. Oh. So, but that made it enjoyable. I had a good time on that.
Okay.
And then finally, I watched the movie The Mother on Netflix, starring Jennifer Lopez. This is, just an actioner, quick, 2-hour movie. I enjoyed it. It started off a little slow for me, but overall, I liked the basic story of it. Woman was she was was it the army? I want to say she was in the army.
Yeah.
She was about to be let out of the army, and she thought, I didn't want to just have some stupid dead end job waiting for me. And so one of the officers there had offered her, a different option, which was good at first because she was making money helping run guns and such things. But then they went behind her back, these two gentlemen, and brokered a side deal that didn't include her, and it was horrific what they wanted to do. So she decided to rat on them to the CIA, I want to say. And so, yes, and so she had this. She was already pregnant at the time, and then it's all about her trying to keep her kids safe that she did not get to raise because she put her up for adoption. So, but I enjoyed it. It went by really fast. It kept my interest. Except, like the first 10 minutes was just the most boring. But I liked it overall. I'd probably give it about 3 1-corks out of 5. So it wasn't like the most greatest thing ever, but it was still entertaining.
Okay. Yeah, so what I've watched this week, I'll just piggyback off in that. I watched The Mother as well, and I really like Jennifer Lopez, and I think she's a good actress. I really do. But I did not really care for this flick. I thought it was kind of cheesy in some parts. And it still was action-packed, and she's a bad A in it. It's like, you can protect me any day. I could take or leave it. You gave it a 3. I would say a 2, maybe 2.5 for me.
Okay.
But again, it did go by fast, and I did get to finish watching it. So, it's still worth watching. It still is worth watching. Mm-hmm. And again, like you said, it went by fast. Then I watched the craziest, weirdest show I think I've seen in a long time. It is called Vivarium. It's a psychological thriller on Netflix, and it's with Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots, which I feel like she's been in something else, but I couldn't even remember where. Anyway, but it's a couple who are hoping to find their perfect place to live. So they travel to this suburban neighborhood in which all the houses look identical. But when they try to leave the labyrinth of homes in this development, each road mysteriously takes them back to where they started. So you just see this number 9, and it all looks the same, but it's almost like they're living in a bubble. It's like the Truman Show, They're just living in this bubble. And the clouds change, but they're the same shape. All the homes look the same. And when they met with the realtor, which is an odd dude, they had mentioned they want a baby, a baby boy or something. So they're like, oh, so you're going to, raise a family here. Well, they get there, and after running out of gas, and they're still at number 9 because they can't get out of this labyrinth, a box of food shows up. So they luckily are able to eat something, and they go inside this house. Everything looks the same, and are able to eat. And then they keep trying to get out of there, and they've climbed over fences. They keep climbing. They keep trying to change where they're at, but they still come back to that number 9 house, that condo. And it is one of the weirdest, craziest shows I've ever seen. Kind of definitely disturbing. So, and the baby plays this, there's this other, they wanted to have a kid. They did not have a kid. They were given a baby. And they're supposed to raise this baby. And it's so bizarre. It's almost like it's a robot of sorts, but it's not. Anyway, if you want to see something really odd, definitely, I would give this one maybe a 3. So,
okay.
But it's very different. And then I've been watching Selling Sunset, so I have started number 6, even though I've missed out on the last 2. But I love watching
the last 2 seasons.
I think so.
Oh,
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe one. Maybe it's just one. I don't know. But for me, I just love watching. I just seeing all these homes in LA, and everything that they're selling. It's just incredible. Some of these homes. So that's kind of the reason I watch it. So, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Now it's time for some movie trailer talk. So first up, we have Killers of the Flower Moon. This is a Martin Scorsese picture, just FYI.
And it was a book.
And yes, it is a book. This will be out October 6th and stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Brendan Fraser, Lily Gladstone, and Robert De Niro. It was a teaser trailer, so honestly there was very little dialogue. It's just showing you different random things. You can tell people have been murdered. It ends with, can you spot the wolves in this picture? And it's like all of these like high society people standing in this room, about basically.
Yeah.
I took it as who's doing what. So it does look compelling.
Yeah, it does. But
knowing it was about 1920s murders that actually occurred, I was like, oh, okay.
Well, and the book is good. I've heard the book is really good. So.
Oh, okay. So, well, yeah, once we get a full trailer, we'll watch that one as well. But so I'm not sure what the full story is. But this did grab me enough. So I was like, okay. And I swear this movie has been gestating for a while. I feel like I've heard about this movie from a while back.
I agree. Yep.
And so it's good. It's
So
finally
maybe
about to come out.
Like so many others.
Right? Yeah. Then we have The Creator. This will be out September 29th and stars our favorite Denzel Washington offspring.
Yeah.
Well, the only one we really know about, let's be real, but still. John David Washington. John David Washington. Anyway, this is from the creator of Rogue One, it says. So it is in like the Star Wars-y type of look. It is set in the future. And it looked like basically... he's one of the soldiers that are trying to protect society from AI, and they open something that was sent down to Earth, and there ends up being this kid in it, inside the sphere that was sent down, but it's not a live kid. He's a robot.
Oh.
And for whatever the reason, because the trailer doesn't show you, John David's character ends up absconding with him to protect him, so he's not destroyed. Yeah, and it looks like just some craziness ensues to make sure he gets to do what he's supposed to do. So
what are your thoughts? So, look good?
it does look good. Yeah, I'm intrigued enough
Yeah.
to...
Well, all you had to say was, Denzel Washington's kid, an offspring. I'll take it.
But yeah, I don't like a lot of things that are set in like a Star Wars type of
Yeah,
universe, but
right.
I do admit this actually does look good. So
Cool.
I would check it out. And finally, we finally got a full trailer for Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. This is out in June, of course, starring and returning Tom Cruise. You have Vin
Diesel?
No. Ving Rhames. Sorry. I
wow,
Vin.
I was way off.
Ving Rhames, Rebecca Ferguson, our favorite songstress from The Great Showman. And, oh my gosh, I love him from way back in the day in La Bamba, but I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name because I didn't write it down. Anyway, he's playing the villain in this. It looks really good. Ethan Hunt just can do no wrong. Seeing it and seeing all the crazy stunts, I mean, it opens with that stunt that if some of you probably did see, he let us see the behind the scenes of him really filming this stunt of him on this motorcycle and jumping off a cliff.
Oh my gosh.
And he's hanging
and
by
he's
hanging by ropes, not ropes, but what's it like anyway, he's hanging by like these rope things from a helicopter to make it work. So he's on the motorcycle, does the jump, and so when the motorcycle falls and he's falling, but it's like the helicopter he's got. But the point is he's hanging there himself. He is hanging there, and I'm just like, and just seeing all the stunts that he for the most part did himself.
It is crazy. Are you thinking Lou Diamond Phillips?
No.
Okay. He
Not,
was in La
not the
Bamba.
lead in La Bamba. He played the brother. Sorry.
Okay.
He played the brother of Ricky Valens. Anyway.
Is it Asai Morales?
There we go. Thank you.
Okay.
Asai Morales.
He plays some villains, some good villains.
Yeah. And so he's the villain in this. And so... yeah, that's good. Oh, and I also spotted Pom Klimtoff, who's also in Guardians. I had never seen her in anything but Guardians. So I was like, oh, when I saw her in the background, it doesn't show her much in the trailer. I was like, I swear that's... and then I looked it up. I'm like, she's in this movie. I was like, okay. All right, that's really
Good.
cool.
So it sounds like it's got a great cast.
Yeah, it does. And it's, like I said, it's doing what Ethan Hunt does best. And obviously, like I said, this is called Part 1. So it's a two-parter. And this will close out, as far as he's concerned, the Mission Impossible series. So as we, it's going to be rebooted later. Obviously, part with somebody else, but he's had a good run, of these movies. I'm trying to think what number this technically is.
I know. I don't even know.
I want to say this actually could be number 10. I think it might be up there with the Fast and the Furious movies.
Because there's been so many of them.
Because let's see, Ghost Protocol was 8.
Let me see.
There wasn't number 9. Yeah, I think this is number 10.
Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure this is number 10. So he got 10 films out of this series, and I can tell you right now, I've liked all of them. I've heard some people say that 2 was like the worst. I don't think it was the worst. I guess if you think in terms of storyline, it was the worst of
Well, it
them
says
all.
8 on here. But does that include the newest one?
Oh, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, so all three good possible trailers. I think maybe when Miss Impossible comes out, you know what we'll do is we'll do a cool series where we talk about all of them leading up to this one. That would be fun. And
that would be great.
And tell our opinions on that and just discuss the stuff. That would be fun. So.
And there's another one scheduled for 2024.
Yeah, because remember this. Like I just said, this is part one.
Yeah.
So.
Gotcha. Part one. Part two.
So there's going to be a part two.
What was that? Part two. That was what movie was that from?
Hot Shots.
There. Oh wow. See, you're good.
Yep, Charlie Sheen back in the day, Hot Shots.
Yeah,
Woo.
that's right.
The Top Gun, which is funny, that's because that was a Top Gun parody, so disconnected. Anyway,
That's
okay,
right.
so good options.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. I do want to give a shout out to Tina Turner. I am very, very sad that she passed away. She passed away at 83
Yeah, it's crazy.
at her home in Switzerland. And she was one of my favorites, especially in the 80s. Growing up in the 80s, it was just awesome, and her music was a big part of my life. And rest in peace, Tina Turner. You were simply the best.
Yeah, she was.
So anyway, well, thanks for listening. We had fun and hope you enjoyed it as well. Please give us a review or a comment, as it really helps us out. And please follow us on Instagram at movies_munchies_Moscato. And we'll see you next team or time.
Yep, either one.
Either one works. If you've got a team, we'll see you. We'll see you then. So anyway, have a great Memorial weekend.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for hanging. Bye.